Hello and welcome everyone to this Creating Substrate Materials in Unreal Engine 5.5 tutorial. This is a beginner tutorial in which I will guide you to a step-by-step approach for creating and editing materials with Unreal Engine's new feature called as Strata or Substrate. Myself Abhijit Neve. I am an Unreal Authorized Instructor and a Senior Technical Instructor for 3D. I have been teaching since last 14 years, also have a year of professional industry experience working as a CG generalist. I will be working on a file which I have saved doing some lighting already. The files that I have used in this tutorial are downloaded from 3drender.com, challenge number 6. I have made few changes in Maya and then imported entire scene to Unreal Engine as an FBX file. In this beginner creating substrate materials in Unreal Engine 5.5 tutorial, we will be taking a look at understanding what is substrate, what are the changes from legacy material system, understand substrate slab, few inputs provided in substrate slab, and hands-on creating new materials by using substrate. At the end of this video, learners will be able to create and edit basic materials based on substrate. So let's have an introduction to substrate materials. What is substrate? Substrate is basically a new method of creating materials in Unreal Engine. It's a kind of next version of PBR material system in which we can achieve more complex and more realistic outputs. So let's have a look what is changed. On your screen, as you all can see, on the left hand side we have legacy material root node, and on the right hand side we have substrate, slab and material root node. We can clearly see that in the original ones, I mean the previously ones, we have metallic and specular values or inputs that have been given in the material nodes. And in this new substrate slab, we have been given with F0, F90 and few others like SSS MFP, SSS MFP scale, SSS phase anisotropy and many others. Now let's take a deep dive into all these 4 new parameters that we will be looking at into this tutorial in a little bit of depth. F0 defines the color and the brightness of the specular highlight where the surface is perpendicular to the camera. For dielectric materials such as plastics and other non-metals, this value is typically in the range of 0 to 0.08 value. The metallic materials, it can range up to 1, and for gemstone it ranges up to around 0.16. F90 defines the color of the specular highlight where the surface normal is 90 degrees from the camera. In other words, at grazing angles relative to the camera. Only hue and saturations are perceived as brightness is fixed at 1.0. This fades to black as F0 drops below 0.02. SSS MFP. Subsurface scattering mean free path MFP. This controls the density of the material and influences the absorption and scattering of light by material. More precisely, this defines the average distance at which a photon interacts with a particle of matter. This distance is controlled per color channel. And lastly, SSS MFP scale. This input scales the subsurface scattering mean free path radius of the subsurface profile to a value between 0 and 1. Kindly note, all this information is directly derived from Unreal's substrate material documentation website page. I will highly encourage you all to go and read all the material available regarding substrate materials for a greater knowledge and understanding. Lastly, I will talk about subsurface profile, because whenever we have SSS MFP and SSS MFP scale values in our materials, it is good to go through the values. But if you don't want to use the values, we can definitely go for subsurface profile, which we will talk about later in this video. Let's now get into Unreal Engine and have a closer look at the materials and how to create and edit them. Alright, so we are in Unreal now, guys. So this is the file that I was talking about. I have downloaded the file, I have made some changes in Maya, and now here you can see the file is in Unreal Engine. Okay, what I have done is I have made some changes in Maya and then I brought it up in Unreal Engine. So here you can see that I have imported all the textures. Also I have this candle FBX that I have imported from Maya, and I have created a basic material for assigning the geometries in this scene. Let us now go and enable substrate from our project settings. I'm going to go to my project settings, and here I'm going to search for substrate. Here I need to enable all these 3 options. Mind you well that substrate is in beta state, so definitely it has some challenges and some limitations. it might get a little bit more, it might tend to crash a little bit more, so be careful about it. Okay, so as soon as I do so, I get a restart warning from the engine, so I'm gonna do so and wait for a while. Okay, so I need to save my file as well. I'm gonna save my UMAP, that is the candle, and say save selected. It will restart. Until it restarts, I'm gonna hold or pause the video. I'll come back when it starts. Okay, so it has restarted very soon. I'm gonna close this now. I'm gonna load my file, the candle file, and I'm gonna switch to the cine camera actor. I'm gonna go to lit mode and press G. Okay, so we have successfully enabled substrate material systems. So now in order to create materials, we have to go to content drawer. I'm gonna go and make some materials, and then we will see how it work out. Okay, so right click and go to material. I'm gonna say m_wallpaper. Okay, so this wallpaper material I would like to assign to these 4 geometries here. So I'm gonna go to the details panel, and from here I will browse for m_wallpaper. So this is how the material is assigned. Okay. Next thing is, like, I'm gonna go to this lit mode and set it to wireframe. Like I told you that the manual way of selecting geometry is quite tedious. So if you have outliner and the objects are named properly, then you can avoid such tedious tasks. So right now when I work with Maya for this file, I observe that all these PQ geometries are the wood panels or the wooden objects that are here. So I'm going to go and select all those. So all of them are selected. I will now create a new material and I'll name it as m_wood, and I'll right away assign it to my selection, m_wood. Okay, before going any further, I would like to save my file. I'll say save all, so that avoids the file getting crashed. So I'm going to go to lit mode. Now you all can see the materials that I have assigned gone completely black, because we have not yet set any parameters to all this. So I'm going to go to my first material, which is very basic one, and get inside it, so it will show up. Okay, so as we all know, previously we were working with the Unreal Engine's legacy material system. It has this all channels and everything. Right now when we enable Substrate, those materials will automatically get converted into Substrate. All the files that were in saved in 5.1, 5.2 maybe, or maybe say 5.3, 5.4 versions, if they were created without without Substrate, they all will be get converted automatically. Okay, so in order to get proper Substrate material, I would like to disable delete this one, and I'm gonna create a new Substrate slab. Okay, so SLAB I'll search for, and a Substrate slab will be created for me. Okay, previously in the slideshow we have already seen what are the differences. So let's now go and create the material. Okay, so we have to connect this Substrate slab BSDF connection to front material. It has to be connected to the front material input node all the time. So now, as the name suggests, it is wallpaper. I have to browse for the texture. I'll go to my texture folder, and here the wallpaper texture is. I'm going to drag drop it here and simply connect it to my diffuse albedo. So like the previous legacy versions, diffuse albedo remains the same. It has no changes in the parametric values or any other values. So once assigned, I'm going to apply the material and kind of save it. Okay, so once I save it, I'm going to minimize this and check that the material is assigned already. Okay, so wallpaper is a type of material who doesn't have any glossiness or reflectivity in it, hence we will keep it as it is. So the F0 and F90 we will explain in the coming materials. I'm going to save it right now and close this one. So the next material that I would like to go for is wood. Okay, so I'm going to double click here, right away I'm gonna remove this one. Right click and search for slab and assign that slab to the front input. Here again I would like to go for textures, and from here I can browse any texture. Okay, so for this wood I have like planned to assign this wood. Let me have a check again. By double clicking, yeah, I can see. Okay, so this one looks better, so I'm gonna assign that here, and I'm gonna save and check that out, that the material is being assigned. Okay. Now I'm gonna go and set the wood materials parameter, materials folder, and here we are. Okay, so like I was in the slideshow we have seen F0, F90 are the parameters that we would like to look at now. So F0 is basically the highlight that comes on a shader ball maybe, or any geometry from the front sides. F90 describes the light casted on the geometry at the these end curvature areas. So if I go and press 1 and create a constant node, so I could have some values for this one. I'll connect this to F0 because I would like to have some specularity in my scene. So if I go to a value, say 1, now you can see there is a bit of glossiness is coming. It is going not a bit, it is going very high. I'm going to change this value to say 0.08, the default one mentioned by the EPIC documentation, and now you can see that it is having some glossiness. So if you want to have any roughness, we can again press 1 and put excuse me, put some value to roughness like that, and later we can always go to like have some test values like 0.2, maybe it looks very shiny. Maybe I'm gonna go to 0.8 maybe. Okay, 0.8 is very rough, so we can find the median value like say 0.6 maybe, what works out well for us. Okay, so I guess 0.5 is okay, right? It looks good. I'm gonna go and say assign it and say save. Alright, so I am here in the metal material. Okay, now I'm gonna delete this and I'm gonna search for a slab and then connect it to the front material. Okay, here I would like to go with the color first. I'm gonna press 3. We will connect it to the diffuse values, and then I'm gonna press 1 and connect it to the F0. Here in the metal we would like to create I would like to create two values for F0 and F90, because the metal that I would like to create will have some reflection from the front and some specularity as well, and some from this grazing angle as well. Okay, so if I check out the documentation like I shown you previously, all the values which are like lower than zeros is having some of it, it is having some of the values. So for this metal I'm gonna go and set it to 1. So you try to see that the metalness kind of effect is already shown. As there is no roughness value, it is not getting shown properly, and also the value for this F90 is not yet set. I'm gonna set it to maybe say 0.8, and let us have a look after assigning the roughness controller. So I'm gonna press 1 again, and let's connect it here, the roughness value. Maybe setting, you can see at this, as soon as we go 0 roughness, it is like showing like a very shiny chrome ball. Okay, so for this metallic tray, candle tray, maybe I would like to go for say maybe 0.5 value. 0.5 is quite low. As soon as I can change this also, maybe I can go to 0.3. Okay, it is not showing that much effect. I'm gonna go and change this to maybe say 0.2. There you are. No, so you get a brushed metal kind of a feel, blurry looking material, blurry reflective material, I'm sorry. So maybe I can play with this value, maybe a little bit more, say 1.5. Yeah, that works also, but if I would like to go a little bit lower than that, 1.2 maybe. See guys, these effects are very small, they are not seen like that, and you have to go and set it to say 0.1 maybe. It is quite a bit less rough and very shiny, so in this case you might observe the changes that are happening. Okay, for this one I'm going to go to set it to maybe 0.2, the original value, and say apply. Once applied, we can just check that out material. We can check that material out in our window, the viewport. It looks good to me. Okay, so F90 is this specularity amount. Let me go back to the metal material. See, F90 is basically giving us the color values coming from the 0 to 1 scale, like black to white. So I'm gonna set it to maybe say 0.5, because I would like to go with the default white or maybe gray white tone of the color. So I'm gonna set it to 0.5, and maybe then I check it out by applying like that. If it is partially or somewhere visible, okay, it was visible. See, if you noticed it shown a little bit of change here. But yeah, the material looks good to me. Okay, so once we are done with this, I'm gonna go and move to the next material. Okay, for now all these materials are not yet saved, so I'm gonna go and say save all. Okay, once it is saved, we can move to the next material. Alright, so one thing that I noticed, guys, I'm really very sorry, that is my bad, that I have not yet assigned any material, the metal material especially here. Okay, so I need to go and check that out, whether anything is left over or what. So these 3 stands are still pending to get assigned with the metal material. So I'm gonna go and set it here, m_metal. Okay, there you are, we have assigned it. Okay, now I'm gonna go and set the photo and the frame material. Okay, so there you are, you have the frame. I'm gonna go and say, let us create a m_frame and material m_photo. I'm gonna save all, and by selecting the frame, I'm gonna go and say choose m_frame. Definitely we have to go and change it. I'm gonna go double click inside it, remove this one, search for slab. By pressing tab, I'm gonna go and search for slab and connect it here. By pressing 3, I would like to create a constant 3 and connect its connection to the diffuse albedo. I'm gonna change the value to something more browny like of a thing. Okay, just like that, maybe quite a bit more darker one. Okay, we can change these colors later, obviously, that is not a problem. So if I press 1, I'm gonna go and set this again here, press 1 again, then I'm gonna go here, roughness. See, by now you might have got all the ideas, guys. Okay, that F0 and F90 are the reflective and specularity alternatives that we can use wisely. We just need to remember the values, the scale of the, the range of the values. Okay, so default values are 0.08 for F0. We don't need to go beyond that, because all the values going exceeded or going beyond this will create metallic effect in our shaders, materials. Okay, I'm gonna go maybe say 0.3. Looks good to me. Color looks a bit dull. I'm gonna make it a bit darker, just like that. Okay, and let us see what it shows up in the viewport. Save, minimize this. There you are. See how beautiful it looks. Now I'm gonna go and select the photo. Yeah, there it is. So inside this photo I'm gonna go again and search for, or maybe right click this time and search for slab, substrate slab, and assign this here. Here I would like to go for a texture sample. That texture is here already with me. I'm gonna use this texture over here and connect it here. Okay, so just apply it and save it. Right now I'm not quite sure about what this material is in the modeling scenes, so I'm gonna go and apply only the photo. If this thing has any glass overlays or anything like that in front, then we might have created another material for it. Okay, for now I have only created it as a matte kind of a surface which has no specularity and no shininess. It is only having roughness. Okay, so I'm gonna go and create a new material, and I'm gonna say m_wax. Okay, maybe probably a big W, capital W, wax, and I need to select all the candles, and I'm gonna apply it here. Wax one, m_wax. This wax is probably the material that has been that came from Maya probably. Okay guys, we have renamed it as m_wax. I'm gonna use that only. Definitely it is the one because it gone black. Now I press escape to get rid of the selection. I'm gonna go and set it to the values. Go and delete this, right click, search for slab, and here you are, connected it to the front material. This is a bit tricky material. Okay, it is like there is nothing tricky in it, but there is certain thing that I need to tell you. Okay, so let us first go and set the color by pressing 3 and clicking left mouse click. So constant 3 is created. I'm gonna set the color values to maybe something like this, maybe wax 1. Okay, not sure about it. Okay, maybe a little bit changed one. Point, small value change has to be done. Bit more light shade. Yeah, something like this. Okay, so once it is done, I'm gonna go press 1 1 1 for F0. Okay, now the tricky part over here is, if you see the candles, if you see them in the real world, you will find that they are quite a bit reflective one as well. There is a little bit of shine is there. So in order to generate those shines from the light that we have created from the left of the scene and from the right of the scene, if I press G, you will see there is this one blue light and there is that another light is there. If we like to go and have that on the rim, on the edges, we have to add F90 amounts to this material. That's what is the specialty. Okay, so I'm gonna go and connect this F90 here. For the wax, I'm gonna go again, say maybe 0.06 because it becomes a bit shinier. Okay, for F90 I might go 0.5. It is not showing up any, maybe a little more less value, 0.2. Let us also add some of the roughness because roughness is also needed here. I'm gonna go and connect my roughness value here. See, it is glossy now, reflective, very shiny. That can be controlled again by some value. Yeah, you see it has this spatial looking, values. Let us have a apply and see for our candles in the viewport. Let us go to the cine camera actor as well and press G. Okay, so see guys, see, you see these vertical looking lines, this is what I was talking about. Okay, now comes the very tricky part, and that is where the triple S, I mean the triple S MFP values comes in. Okay, now let's add a triple S surface, I mean the triple S controller, that is what is called as subsurface profile in the new substrate material system. In order to create that, I need to go to this substrate slab BSDF node. I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to set a subsurface profile from here. I'm going to go and say drop down and select a new subsurface profile. As you all can see, it is create a new asset. It will create a new asset for us. We can obviously create that in the material folder obviously, and say wax. You can say name it as wax. I'm going to save. Now that it has been created, you see a little bit of redness is shown up here. Okay, that is because if I go and find this where it is and double click on it, so these parametric values are coming into the material. You can see surface albedo is already set, mean free path color is already set, even the mean free path distance is also set. If I go and close this up, yes, I don't know what it says, what do you like to matching this here? Yes, and there you are. Now you can see the subsurface, the light is getting scattered through these candles, like you can see that here as well. See the amount of redness that has been shown. Okay, so depending on the color what our candle has, we can change these colors and we can have the outputs. Okay, so I'm gonna save all, and hence we have completed the wax material. Lastly, I'm gonna go and create a essence stick material. So I'm gonna go and say material m_sticks and I'm gonna select, if it is possible I can select it from here only. No, there are many. I'm gonna go and eject, get out of the camera, get closer to the sticks, shift select all, and choose the stick material. Okay, so I'm gonna go and choose my cine camera actor. Obviously it has gone black. Press escape key to get rid of the selection. It has gone black because no color is yet assigned. I'm gonna go and remove this slab, search for slab and connect it in the front material tab. Press 3 to assign a color value. Set this to chocolate brown like that. Let's see. Okay, sometimes these sticks are brown, they are black. So if I go very dark kind of a black one and apply, press 1. Okay, it is getting saved. Press 1 to have some roughness into it. Sticks, they don't have any reflectivity and specularity at all, so I'm going to go and set it to 1. Okay, and say apply. Save all, file, save all, close this. Again check that it is saved, everything is saved. Save all again. So that wraps up the tutorial on creating substrate materials in Unreal Engine 5.5 guys. So in this creating substrate materials in Unreal Engine 5.5 tutorial, you have understood what is substrate, what are the changes from legacy material system, understood the substrate slab, Also learned few inputs provided in the Substrate lab and how to create new materials in Substrate. Thank you.